Hey everyone, this is Oscar from Underdog, and today I moved out of my usual studio because I want to talk to you about a special subject. Where I live here in Belgium, the winter is arriving, and that often means that we're all going to be facing some special challenges with relation to mental health. As electronic music producers, it's very easy to find yourself on your own. It's just you with your computer trying to learn everything that you need to learn, trying to make all the music that you need to make. And often people within their own circle of family and friends don't even have that many people that like the same music that they like. I remember very vividly for myself, for a long time, feeling like a kind of an isolated cell vibrating on my own, with no one really to bounce off of, with no one to share my enthusiasm with, and not knowing if I was on the right track or the wrong track, if I was spending my energy on the good things or not. I was looking for connection, and it was very hard to find connection, because in electronic music, so much is up to just you as the artist, compared to, for instance, in acoustic music, where the act of playing music together is much more common and much more encouraged. But it doesn't have to be this way. So today what I'd like to do in this video is I'd like to talk about a few different ways in which we can make music production more social, more connected. So first of all, as you will have seen through the pandemic, we're all super connected through the internet, right? So find and join online communities that care about the same music that you care about. I would say you'll find three general types of online community that are interesting. So the first one is related to the tools that you use. So for instance, online groups focused around Ableton Live or Reason or whatever software that you're using. These can be great for educational reasons. They can be very interesting to learn more. However, you get a lot of people there who are focused on the tools, not so much on the art. And the reason most of us want to make music is because the art touches us emotionally. So maybe those groups are not the best ones to stay motivated. They're good to learn, but to stay motivated, it's more interesting to find those groups, the second category, which is the groups that are organized around a particular genre, a particular style of music that you love. Because these communities collect the people that have the passion for that music, they care so much about that music, and so you can join them and just vibe and share the enthusiasm. That's half the fun of music, sharing each other's enthusiasm. So go find the subreddits, the Facebook groups, the Discord channels, where people post and repost the music that you love, and contribute. Respond positively to people, send out good karma into the world, and good karma will come back. This is one of the most fun ways to engage with a community, and it's one of the easiest ways because it's available to us all the time on our phones, on our laptops, wherever you are. And then the third type of online group is those that are actually regional to your area, like music producers in Belgium or music producers in Brussels. There exist Discord channels, there exist Facebook groups, etc., just for the local producers. And this is a great way to start becoming familiar with who's doing what around you. We'll come back to talking about getting involved at the community level in a moment, but first I still want to talk for a moment about online collaboration, because joining a community is a great first start. It's really important to start getting that connection. And then within those communities, as a music producer, there are a few ways in which you can collaborate through the internet, even if you don't share the same physical space with people. One of the types of online collaboration that I have not seen discussed nearly as much as I would like is mentorship. Everybody is somewhere on the learning journey, right? You're either at the beginning, the middle, but there is no end. You're always some way along the path. And one of the most satisfying things to do is to help those who are further back along the path, help them, guide them in the right direction. Over the past years with Underdog, this has been one of the biggest realizations for me, is that the most satisfying thing is to really help other people break through the blocks that you experienced earlier on in your career as well. Teaching what you know is also one of the best ways to clarify what you know. If you have to explain a concept to someone who doesn't know the concept, you have to think about, okay, what words are going to be good? How do I actually think about this concept? How can I simplify it? What's important and what's not important about this concept? Thinking like this is super helpful. And so I'd like to take a first step in making matches between mentors and people who are looking for mentors. On the Underdog Discord channel, there is a text channel where people can post a little bit of a description of themselves, saying who they are and what they can offer, or who they are and what they're looking for. And hopefully that can serve as a first step in matchmaking between mentors and mentees. If people have better ideas on how to set up more systematic mentorship, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to be involved in something like this. Now, once you're part of a community, another good way of exchanging with others is by collaborating, by having fun, exploring music production together. And through the internet, it's not always super obvious. So there are a couple of ways of doing this. Let's talk about 3 ways of collaborating. The first one is exchanging stems. It's kind of like remixing each other, where you make yourself a first draft of a composition, and then you export all of the instruments individually into what's called stems. That means you want to have a certain number, maybe somewhere between 5 and 15 different tracks that are all just audio files of identical length. And in the title, you'll mention the beats per minute and the key that it's in. And you'll send it to someone, and all they have to do is open up their DAW, set their project to the right BPM, drag in all of those files, and then magically they're going to be listening to your composition. And then they can take the next step, do a whole bunch of edits, and then finally export stems again, send them back to you, you can send them back to them, and over and back, and you can have a very fun time exchanging projects like that. In Ableton, what you can do is you can select the tracks that you want to export as stems, then go to export audio video, and instead of exporting the master channel, you can do export selected tracks only. That's going to create all of these WAV files that are identical in length inside of a folder that you can then collect all into a zip file and send through WeTransfer. This is fun as well because you don't even have to be working in the same software. One of you can be working in Ableton, the other one can be working in Reason, the other one can be working in FL Studio, and you can still collaborate on projects. So that's super fun. As a little footnote, by the way, I was really impressed that Reason has an export all stems option built inside of it to make it really practical to bounce stems. But maybe you don't want to bounce stems, maybe you want to send a project file. That's the second method. Sending a project file depends heavily on what DAW you use. In Ableton, there's a foolproof method to share your project file. Even if your collaborator doesn't have the same plugins as you, what you can do is select all the tracks that have an external VST on them, right-click them and do freeze. Make sure all of those tracks are frozen. Then go up to the top left and do collect all and save. Then you go into your file browser and you find the project folder. And you're going to put that project folder into a zip file. But you got to make sure that inside of there is the .als file and a folder called samples. If you don't have both of those, the whole thing's not going to work. So you need to make sure there's a .als file and the samples folder. You put that into a zip file, you send it through WeTransfer, and then the other person will be able to open it regardless of what plugins they have or don't have. If anyone from Ableton is watching this, please make a one-click version of this process where it's just something called save for sharing or something like that, which just generates a zip file that you can then send off. Because the amount of time wasted in sharing defective folders like this is just, it's crazy. So you've got exchanging stems, you've got exchanging projects, but then there's a third option. Thankfully, due to some innovative technology, there are actually some DAWs in the browser, which kind of function like Google Docs. If you've ever seen that, you're both working on one file and you see each other's mouse cursors moving around. And it's kind of like Ableton in the browser. For this particular video, I've invited my friend Will Hatton to test the software by Soundation. A little shout out to Soundation as well for sponsoring this segment. I really appreciate the work you're doing to make music making more social, so keep up the good work. Let's see if we can get Will's thoughts on this subject as well.
Hey guys, my name's Will Hatton and I make an assortment of music under the moniker Hush Child. I also have a YouTube series called Inspired By, where we look at the musical trends past and present so that hopefully you guys can make better music. With the YouTube channel, I've also found that there are some new ways of creating community, like at the Discord, for instance. I joined your Discord before I even created my own, and I saw there how precious the interaction is with everyone and how great, you see how all these connections that people, create with each other, which is really beautiful. And then there's something that you've been doing, which I thought was amazing, which is these beat battles. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about them. I'm so glad you brought that up as well, because so I created a beat battle as part of the Discord. I wanted the Discord to have some kind of purpose. It had community, but I didn't want people just spamming their work and trying to get, easy plays. I really did care about a group of people that would be able to come together and build each other up and also give each other the feedback. One of the biggest things that I enjoy about teaching is I have the opportunity to learn from everybody else and then kind of pass on those messages or those lessons as well. So bi-weekly, I hold a beat battle, and it's only a beat battle because I don't have a better word for it. But we're not really going head to head. We kind of present different beats and we have a strict rule each week of what we're going to create, what sample we're going to use. So something that I'm starting to notice is the participants are starting to also collaborate with one another in their personal time away from the beat battle, and they're all starting to release their own tracks as well. So it shows that the community that I originally had in mind is working and thriving as well.
And I feel like people who come up with acoustic music, who learn an instrument, it tends to be more encouraged to play together, to jam together and things like this. Whereas making music on your computer can be a bit lonely sometimes. You've got really a perspective on both sides of this. So what's your experience?
I think that's a good point, because especially with lockdown as well, I'm almost entirely on my own creating music all the time. When I was working as a session musician, even prior to the rehearsal process or the gig, there was a back and forth of, do you want me to play this type of beat? What is the emotion of the track? Everything went into that process, and then the outcome, whether it be a recording, a gig, you were all in that together. If it was a recording that flopped, okay, we've all learned, let's try this differently, we can discuss it. And if it was a record that did well, or a gig that was a great performance, you were all there together, you built it up from the ground up. But as you know, creating music almost daily for YouTube and for private clients, that kind of thing, I have no barometer of whether I'm doing something right or wrong. You know, is it even beneficial to anybody? So it's definitely, I've found over the last year, a lonely experience. It can be a lonely experience.
All right, the time has come. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this collaborative music making software called Soundation. It's kind of like Ableton, but in the browser. And it's kind of like Google Docs, where you see two cursors moving around. And so you can collaborate on one set.
That's super cool.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move here and do create a project. Then I've got a solo project or a collaboration project. And obviously what we're here for is the collaboration project. Now this should look familiar to some of you. If you see up here, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are your bars, right? Vertically here, you're going to see the channels, which is like the tracks in Ableton. And on the right, it looks like there's the sound library. So if you know Ableton, you should start to feel pretty damn at home here. So let's see if we can get Will in here, right? Here it says collaborate, the big yellow button called collaborate.
There we go. I'm invited. Let's collaborate, it says. Yes, let's do that.
There you are. Look at that. I see you moving your mouse cursor. Amazing. Look at it. And then on the right, you can see there's these sounds and libraries and things like this, right?
Oh, cool.
And a lot of it is linked in with Splice. Do you want to do drums, or do you want to do harmonic stuff?
I think you're the melody master. I'll stick to drums.
The melody master, that's what they call me. All right, let me check it out. A lot of the keyboard shortcuts are very similar to Ableton. That's nice.
Want to go for like a 4-bar loop instead of a whole song?
Yeah. Oh, and then and then you can open a clip. Oh, and the piano roll's kind of groovy. Oh yeah, piano roll, very similar to how Ableton's one works. Oh, by the way, they've integrated Europa from Reason. Reason has this kind of flagship synth called Europa, and they've integrated it, and
that's really cool.
Yeah. Control Z works. I love it. The bottom part of the screen is the same as in Ableton, where you can add effects to each channel.
Okay. That's nice.
They have a filter type called the WUB filter.
Okay.
This is my favorite moment right now.
That's cool.
The drive on the WUB filter is insane. Oh, whoever designed that deserves a promotion. Oh yeah, and they've got this FM synth that looks like rocket science.
Dude, I'll leave that to you. That's your domain.
This is fun though. This is fun.
cool, yeah? Maybe if I add a filter to it.
All right, and that was our little sketch. Will, what did you think of Soundation? Well, what's your verdict?
Yeah, dude, I love Soundation. It kind of linked closely between Logic, and then it had those links to Ableton, like you say, the bar lines and the way that you could loop it. And it was super responsive as well. Lovely experience, buddy.
So for everyone at home, this was Will Hatton. Check out his channel.
Yeah, so you can head over to youtube.com/Will Hatton. And as Oscar mentioned, I present a series called Inspired By, where each week we take a separate look at an artist as inspiration and try to recreate some of the techniques so that you guys can make better music.
So I hope that gave you a flavor of how much fun it can be to explore music making together inside the DAW. But now I want to come back to the last way and maybe the most important way to do music. And that to me is connect with people in real life. I think it's hard to deny that music feels best when you're experiencing it in real life with other people in a shared space, and you can connect with each other's enthusiasm directly and you can see a direct feedback. So ask yourself the question, where in real life are they playing the music that you love? Because probably you're not alone, even though it seems sometimes with the internet that you're just this isolated cell vibrating in your producer studio bedroom. Actually, there are probably several of these cells around the place where you live, and there might actually be even a small scene of events that you can go get involved in. Try connecting with the people who are organizing the real life events that inspire you and see if you can do something for them. See if you can spend some of your energy boosting their signal, helping them, either by working for them or by volunteering for them or something like this. Because once you're inside there, you're going to be surrounded by people who are equally touched by this music as you. And so you're going to start developing a personal network of friends. And amongst those friends, there are going to be music producers as well that you can then hop in the studio with and collaborate. And I wasn't particularly going to talk about this, but since we're talking about mental health and I thought about it now, I think I should share. An important part of this is that when you're connecting with people, whether online or in real life, it's not always going to go well. Sometimes you're going to get negative feedback. Sometimes you're going to get rejected. I've been rejected for things that I cared about so deeply and that I was sure were going to work out. And yet on the other side of the interaction, there was just someone who said, "Thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to be involved with you." And that sucked. That sucked so much. Oh my God. It was painful. It was painful. And I still think about it sometimes. This string of rejections, this string of no's, and it hurts. And part of growing emotionally and maturing emotionally is just learning to not let those setbacks define you and to focus on the positives, because there are a lot of positives too. There are so many positives that sometimes you can forget and let one no stop you. But remember, everyone who has gotten to somewhere successful has had a string of rejections and no's and failures along the way as well. So when you try to collaborate with someone and it doesn't work out, or when you try to share your passion with someone and it doesn't work out, it's okay to feel that that sucks, but then as fast as possible, archive it as a success in your mind because you tried and you took the risks. And if you try many different times, some of the risks are going to work out. And since we were talking about collaborating in real life, this is one argument that's actually quite in favor of hardware. If you have studio hardware, if you have drum machines, if you have synthesizers, if you have sequencers, try getting yourself into the same space as someone else with a complementary set of tools, hook them all up and see what kind of fun you can create. Just do music together by improvising and live jamming together. Not all music has to lead towards creating an MP3 that's then going to go out into the market, right? Sometimes music is just about creating something in the here and now that's never going to be reproduced. So allow yourself to explore that and try to find some partners in crime who are happy to explore their analog gear in the same way with you in the same space. So those are my ideas in general on social music making. Join online communities, collaborate through the internet, and find like-minded people in your direct environment who are motivated by the same stuff that you're motivated by. If you have any more ideas, leave them in the comments or come share them on our Discord channel. And as a final general message, I would just want to say, protect your mental health. It is the most important thing that you have. Everything else in life is a marathon. Don't exhaust yourself trying to push yourself too far. And music is supposed to bring joy and connect you with other people. So if it's not doing that, take some time to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Try implementing some of the tips in this video. Let me know in the comments how it goes. If you want to boost these kind of messages, Do like the video and subscribe. It really helps give more visibility to the channel. Come check out our educational content on underdog.brussels. Consider supporting me on the Patreon for these free videos. And until next time, stay producing, be good to one another, and take care. Bye bye.